Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. You know, I've had this on my desk as long as I can remember. But I never knew what the words meant. Not really. It all began, how I found out what they really meant in school. Civics class it was. We were learning about our town and our country and the world. The project for that day was DPs, Displaced Persons.
Now, that's generally the DP problem. You should have a pretty clear idea about them now, I think. Who they are, where they come from, and where we're taking care of them in over 200 camps. But the DPs aren't just a European problem. You know, Congress has just passed a law. Walter, suppose you tell us about the new DP legislation.
Well, the law provides for admittance into the United States of 205,000 refugees within 2 years. And it gives priority to those that have the skills that are required in this country. Besides that, there are about 10,000 refugee students who were admitted here temporarily, and now they'll be allowed to stay permanently.
That's right, Walter. Very good. The United States is going to take in about 215,000, beginning very soon. So your assignment on this topic will be an essay. The subject will be why our town should take in displaced persons. Because, you see, it's not just a problem for the U.S., it's a problem for us. Are there any questions? Anne?
Could you tell us how many words?
500 will be enough. You can use the usual sources of information.
500 words, Jiminy. 500 words seemed like an awful lot in class. But after I'd raided Dad's files for material, he's the editor of the local newspaper, you see. Oh, brother. Jillions of words about DPs, and I just didn't know where to start.
Oops.
Daddy!
I'm sorry, Princess. Hey, what's all this? Homework?
500 words on why our town should take in DPs.
Should we?
That's what I'm trying to find out. Jiminy, how am I supposed to know what's good for the whole town? How do I know what's right when it's up to everybody, not just me?
Well, in my business, when we want to find out the answers to questions, why, we just go out and ask them.
Ask who?
Oh, everyone. Anybody and everybody. The butcher, the baker, the cobbler.
Daddy, you're a dreamboat. That's just what I'll do. I'll take a poll.
DPs.
Hello, honey. What do you got?
Souls for these, Mr. Giacomo.
Sure.
Mr. Giacomo, can I ask you a question?
Why, sure.
Well, it's for school. The question is, should our town take in DPs? You know, displaced persons.
I know, DPs. I tell you what I think. I ask you questions. Just 3 questions. 1, why do we got to take them in? Lots more town bigger than us in this country. Why don't they take them in? 2, suppose we do take them in. Where they gonna live? My boy just back from the army got to no place to live in with his wife. He gonna live with us. Who comes first? GI or DPs? That's the 2 questions I asked you. Question 3. Well, you take me. I'm a shoemaker. I got my own place. I do all right. I don't make $1 million. I don't go hungry. The shoemaker down the street, he does okay too. But what's it gonna be if they bring in a DP shoemaker? Not enough work for him, not enough work for me, not enough work for the other men. Just not enough to go around. It's gonna be bad for him, for me, for the other guy.
But, Mr. Giacomo, what if he isn't a shoemaker?
Shoemaker, tailor, doctor, lawyer. We got enough of everything, honey. We got all we want. We got no room. I feel sorry. Sure, I feel sorry about all the trouble they got over there. But that's their trouble. We got enough.
I see.
Okay. You come back Tuesday for your shoes. Peace.
Hi, Wally.
Hi, Annie Pie. What'll it be?
Same as usual.
Okay. Hey, how you doing on that essay?
How are you doing?
All done. Well, up here, that is.
Lucky you. Where'd you get the information?
Oh, I figured it out myself. It was as easy as pie. Now, it's all a question of jobs. Take me, for instance. I'll be out of school this term, looking for a job. You think I want to be a soda jerker all my life? No, sir. I figure I can get started right here in town as a mechanic and do well. But suppose some DP, one of those foreigners comes over here. You suppose he's a mechanic, say. Well, where does that leave me? Unemployed. So if they're going to come over here and take over our jobs, well, we don't want them. Nah, let them stay where they are or go back where they came from. We don't need them.
I see. Here. I'm not hungry anymore. Asking questions was a good idea, but I was getting all the wrong answers. Instead of finding out whether we should take DPs in, I was finding out we didn't want them at all.
Oh, hello, Anne. How's your dad?
Oh, just fine, Ed.
Troubles on your mind? Want anybody arrested free?
No, just homework.
Oh, that'll do it every time. But if it's figuring now, I can help you.
It's figuring all right, but not with numbers. Ed, do you know what DPs are?
That I do. Folks on the other side with no roof to their heads, no work to their hands, and nobody to lift a finger to help the poor souls.
Then you think our town ought to take them in?
How's that again?
Should we take them in here? They'll be coming over here by the thousands.
Well, I don't know. There's room in the States, I guess. North, south, east, west, but right here, I don't know. Not that I'd lift a finger to stop them poor souls, but it's not for the likes of me to say what should be done.
Then who's it for to say?
Well, now, offhand, I'd say that's a matter of home government, like, go ask the mayor and all.
Yeah. Thanks, Ed.
You're welcome.
I'll be perfectly frank, Anne. It's a big question. Maybe we ought to put to a town vote. No, don't quote me. You see, Anne, these DPs might well become a public burden. And we have our own people to take care of. Hospital care, welfare, jobs. Our own come first. And we don't want any more on the rolls. Oh, speaking about jobs, come here, Anne. See here. Sewers to be dug, roads to improve, a new school, addition to the firehouse. Do you know who pays for all this, Anne?
Yes, sir. Taxes.
Taxes is right. Your dad's and mine. So if it's a question of money, and it will be, what do we need more? These or DPs?
I don't know.
Well, frankly, I wish I could help you, Anne. But you're going about it the right way, asking questions. Wish I knew the right answer myself. So, keep right on asking.
Well, I did go right on. And so many people either didn't know about DPs or did know and didn't want them. Most everybody felt sorry for them and agreed it was a good thing for our country to take them. But for our town, no. And I got to thinking, what is the country if it isn't all the towns and cities all added up together? And suppose everybody everywhere feels like this. Well, I had one more thing to do for Mother. I had to go to the store. And there I did one more interview.
Taking DPs here, is that what they teach you in school? A lot of foreigners. What are we sending all that money over there for? Now they want to come over here and run us out of house and home. Take them in here. Say, where'd you get those ideas? We haven't got enough for ourselves. It's hard enough to get along as it is without them. DPs.
That did it. Everything just piled up on me. All the things people said, they just added up to one thing. Selfishness. And it hurt to find out people were selfish. You see, I'd never heard anything like that before. My question had gotten bigger and bigger until something seemed to be pretty wrong somewhere. It was going to take a lot more than 500 words to answer it for me. Then, all of a sudden, I knew where to go for the answer. Hello, Pastor.
Hello, Anne. What's wrong, Anne?
People.
What's wrong with them?
They're selfish.
What makes you say that?
I was doing my homework. Just a little old assignment for civics class, an essay, trying to find out if our town should take in DPs. And the plain, ordinary old truth is, nobody wants them.
Tell me, why did you come here?
Well, this is where I learned my lessons about people, everything, how to behave.
Yes?
People are so mean. Some of the same people I see coming into church every Sunday, talking so mean. I'm all mixed up. I'm awfully mixed up.
And all this because you asked some questions about DPs. Have you ever seen a DP?
No.
Would you like to?
Yes, where?
Right in here. You know, I was over in Europe just after the war, helping out over there. Well, our church headquarters has sent me a film. I was just going to run it. Suppose we look at it together. Now, this movie was made right in a DP camp, with real DPs in it. Sit down there. Now, I'm supposed to make some suggestions for the commentary. It's sort of my homework. Oh, Ann, snap out the lights, will you, please?
Sure.
Now, suppose we turn on the picture, and you'll have a better idea of the actual conditions under which DPs live.
But there's no story.
That's where I come in. And this is where the DPs come in. This is Germany, Ann. And those are DPs. A displaced person and his family.
No mother?
Guess not. They may have come from Latvia, Poland, Estonia, anywhere. They don't really know where they're going. They only know they've got to get away.
He's scared.
He shouldn't be. See the emblem? It's ours. Lutheran World Action.
Where are they going?
A DP camp. This one's near Nuremberg. Used to be a German prisoner of war camp. Now it'll be their home. If you call this a home.
Look, he's found a friend.
That's good.
Who's that?
The camp director. That's the camp headquarters. They'll be registered. Friedrichs Freimanis, daughter Johanna, son Karl, from Riga, Latvia, now of DP Camp Valka. Main Street, the supermarket, the public library. And where does he want to go from here? This will be home. But first,
Where do the clothes come from?
us, they need everything, especially this. Well, now they can go home to the place where they'll live. If you call this living. Here they'll live, 11 in a room. At least they have a corner to themselves. And this makes it home.
That must have been his wife, I guess.
Yes. And that night he prays for a real home. For himself and for all the others who wander the road. Moving. Always moving. Everywhere. Anywhere. Always hoping. And ending up here. Like our DP.
What's he doing?
Getting some land to work. You see, he's a farmer. For DPs are everything we are. Workmen, artists. This is Annis putting the finishing touches on the altar painting. And farmers. Yes, DPs work. And play. But mostly work. And with work, time passes. And life in Valka goes on, day by day, year by year. And always the bulletin board is watched for open doors for emigration. But there are so few openings for families. And while he waits and works, he learns too. The Lord is my sheep herd. I will not need. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. There's this kind of learning too. But always work. And more work. And each night, play. But each week comes a certain day. The people built and furnished their own chapel. Daily life goes on, and some of their supplies come like this. 2 of our staff members visit Pastor Turks and the camp director at Valka to leave Bibles and other supplies for the congregation. There's real appreciation shown for this help, which is given to many, many camps. They've come for something else, too. This year, you see, the first prospects for emigration to America are being selected.
That's his friend with him?
Yes. Many are called, and some are chosen. But not all. Not our friend.
Why not?
Because he's not single. He has a family. He can't go yet.
His friend's going.
Yes. Single men find places more easily. But the old, the ill, the family men, the fathers of children, they must wait. When the day of departure comes, it's a special day. First, the service of farewell and sermon and closing prayer. Then Pastor Turks calls those who have been chosen. And the beloved Archbishop has come to add his blessing. And when the farewell service is over, the young men leave. Some of the first to leave for America. Some may go, but some must stay behind. Many must stay behind. Too many. Too many people just like us, our neighbors, our brothers, far away, waiting for us here to find room. They're asking us, Anne, whether this is to be, after so much wandering, the end. Well, Anne, what do you think?
Sure gave me plenty to think about.
Well, hello.
Daddy! What are you doing here?
Oh, I saw your bike parked outside and figured you were still at your homework. I figured I needed a little homework myself. Came in just in time, too.
But, Daddy, what are you doing here?
I've been doing a little work on the DP subject myself, in an editorial sort of way.
I knew you knew more about it than you said you did. Shame on you.
I'd like you to find out these things for yourself. Looks like you have, too.
Certainly have. Everybody feels sorry for them, but nobody thinks we ought to take in DPs here. Well, now I know what DPs are like. They're like us. And I think they deserve better than they have.
But what?
Well, all these objections people have to DPs, I wish I knew the answers.
What kind of objections, Anne?
3 kinds. All selfish. 1, jobs. DPs will take my job. 2, houses. DPs will take my house. And that there'll be a burden on us.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
Yes.
What was that, Anne?
Oh, I don't like to say.
Go ahead, dear.
Well, it wasn't so much what they said. It was how they said it. How they looked. DPs, they said. Bunch of foreigners. We don't want them. It was awful. I never heard grown-ups talking like that before. We're supposed to look up to you and be like you when we grow up. But that kind of talk just sounds mean and wrong and stupid to me.
Yes, Anne. Many people are thoughtless and unkind.
Daddy and Mother aren't.
That's because they're real Christians, Anne. And that isn't easy to be. Anne, what did we learn in confirmation class? To love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul,
And with all thy strength. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Exactly. And that's pretty hard to do. Why, some of us don't even love our neighbor right across the street, much less across the ocean so far away.
Didn't I find that out?
Yes, you learned it in the book before. And now you found it out in real life. People are selfish, Anne, because they don't follow Christ. Anne, you're growing up.
I don't like it. Growing up.
I know. It isn't easy. But that's no reason to be discouraged. The sight of selfishness over here, in the face of suffering over there, why, that's just another reason for a Christian to work harder. It's part of the meaning of the cross, Anne. Not merely to follow it, but to carry it.
How?
And let me help you, hon. Now, according to the law you studied at school, Uncle Sam pays the United Nations to bring the DPs out of Europe and across the ocean. We've opened the gates of the camps and the gates of America. But that's only half the job.
And the other half is up to us, the churches. Protestants, Catholics, Jews. Every church is obligated by its very basic beliefs to bear this burden of brotherhood. So, Anne, this congregation is going to be the headquarters of that work in this community. Our people are going up and down the streets of our town.
I'll help.
I know you will. Up and down, finding promises of jobs, canvassing for houses.
And money.
And passing out forms for folks to fill out to indicate their sponsorship of a DP family. And you know something, Anne? It sounds like a big job, especially in view of what you ran into. But all we ask for a starter is this. If, for example, 10,000 congregations each find place for one family, that would add up to 25,000 people, Anne. 25,000 brought to a new life.
Well, I felt pretty upset when I first came here. But now, I think our town will come through if we can convert a lot of people.
Convert is exactly the word. For there are answers to the objections, Anne. Concrete answers. There are jobs for DPs. There is space for them. We've had promises in preliminary surveys. And as for DPs being a burden, tell me, when couldn't this giant country bear a burden when that burden is people? People with hearts and souls and willing hands to work.
We always could, and we'll keep on.
Yes, and we'll do more than that. You see, Anne, it isn't just a question of food and housing and bearing burdens. It's keeping hope and faith alive. I can't say it as well as a DP. A real DP told it to me just before I left his camp. He said, "We know what it means to have doors shut. Our doors to our homelands are closed to us. But God has other doors. These doors have been opened by the love of our brethren from overseas. When we fled from our homes, our faith in God and man had dwindled until only faith in God was left. Now begins the revival of our faith in man. God is truly gracious. Our deep thanks to him and to our brethren will ever endure."
Dear God, thank you for helping me to find the right answer. Give me the love to be unselfish, and help me to be strong enough to love my neighbor as myself, as Jesus did. Amen. You know, I've had this on my desk for an awful long time. But I guess I never really knew what the words meant. Until now. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door.